welcome back to Ghouls Night In, the spooky chat show with your best ghoul friends. I'm Penny Snark.
And I am Midge Munster. And today I want to get into my favorite horror film, Trick or Treat. And I will say
Ooh.
up front that I'm not going to spoil anything in this episode. So if you have not seen Trick or Treat, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the style aspects of the film and things, but I had a little giggle actually while writing up this episode today because Penny, you just did your Silence of the Lambs episode not too long ago,
Yes.
which I had not seen until recently, and that's like your film of choice. Also, Penny recently got a great tattoo, Silence of the
Hey.
Lambs inspired death head moth tattoo, and uh my favorite is Trick or Treat, like I just said. I have a Trick or Treat tattoo, I believe, on the same arm
Oh yeah.
that your Death's Head moth tattoo is on.
How
Uh,
appropriate. Not coordinated, ladies and gentlemen. We just have the same brain.
yeah. So I was like, oh, that's cute. Like we both have our little favorite movie tattoos on our arm,
Oh,
uh,
I love it.
and also conversely, or like the same, you have not seen my favorite horror film. You have not seen Trick or Treat still.
No, it was on my list for my spooky movies that I'm gonna watch this
Yeah.
season.
That's
So
I said. You have
I
promised me this is the year,
Yes,
so I'm
I'm
holding
gonna
you
do
to
it.
it.
I will say that I have read the Wikipedia article
Okay, okay.
because not this was prior to the podcast. I was just like, I got it. I do that sometimes with horror movies, wherein I
To
want to
have a
feel like I know
general,
what's up.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah. Within our group of humans, you got to have a general knowledge of a lot of things just to
Yeah.
keep up with conversation, right? But that's why I'm not gonna get into spoilers today. Not just because Penny has not seen this film, but also this is one of those movies that I think everyone should have the like pleasure of getting to experience, like going in totally blind the first time. Um, so if you have never seen this movie, please check it out. I'm gonna say that up front. It is so much fun, and this is a great time to go see it
Hey,
because Trick or Treat is in the news a lot right now because it is getting its first ever theater release in
I
October
saw that.
2022. And we'll get into that a bit more later about why that is the case. But I'm so friggin' excited to see this film in all of its glory in theaters next month. I can't wait. But let's get into a little bit of history and what this film is like. It's become an absolute cult classic, and it really has like everything you could ever want from the perfect Halloween movie, in my opinion. So, Trick or Treat is set up as an anthology style film, which, if you aren't familiar, just means that it basically consists of several shorter stories that are all tied together through kind of a through line. And it's also a bit of a horror comedy. This film came out, well, it was done in 2007. And they were kind of doing this before anyone was like really doing horror comedy. um, so it was also a bit of an odd duck that people were like, I think didn't quite know what to do
Yeah.
with. Um, but it's not, I was thinking when I was writing this out, like, that TikTok sound, it's like, but not funny, haha, funny,
Funny
weird.
weird.
Like that's the way in which Trick or Treat is a horror comedy. I wouldn't say you're like busting up laughing by any means.
Yeah.
You are going to be like, what?
What?
But so the film consists of four or five, depending on who you ask, short stories that all take place over the Halloween night in Warren Valley, Ohio. We have the four big stories. We have Principal Steve Wilkins, who is carving jack-o'-lanterns with his son. We've got Lori, who is played by the glorious Anna Paquin.
Yeah, love.
We love Anna Paquin here. Ghouls Night In is a Anna Paquin stan account now.
A bi icon.
By con, yes. Lori is her character. She is a 22-year-old virgin who is going to a party with her sister and seeking out like the perfect gentleman for her first time, but there's a twist on that.
Mm.
We have a group of kids, shitty kids, I'm gonna say that first off, who are out to discover the truth about an urban legend about a school bus massacre that happened on Halloween. And we have Mr. Krieg's story, and he is like a grumpy old hermit man who lives alone with his dog, his dog is named Spite, um, which is so funny. I've been watching this movie every Halloween for the last 10 years, probably. Um, and I never, I used to not be able to watch television with subtitles.
Mhm.
It was really, really distracting to my ADHD. Like I couldn't
Yes.
split enough to watch the image and the captions, you know. But as of late, I am getting older and more deaf, and so in the last couple of years, I've been watching stuff with subtitles. I always thought the dog's name was Spike, which is
Oh,
a
yeah.
normal dog
Mhm.
name. And it wasn't till I showed Taylor this film for the first time on Halloween 2 years ago, and we were watching it with subtitles, and I saw Mr. Creek go, Spite! And I was like, whoa!
What?
What a twist! Y'all wanted a twist? Uh,
Is it Trick or Treat still surprising you after
Still
10 years?
surprising me after all these years, which just rounds out his character even more. So yeah, horror comedy. The dog's name is Spite.
Right,
Um,
I was gonna say you gotta have a grumpy hermit old man in a Halloween story.
yeah.
That's a prerequisite.
It's a really important part of the story. Yeah, so Mr. Krieg is, alone in his home with his dog on Halloween night. He doesn't celebrate, he's not decorated, what have you. And he gets a surprise visit from a mysterious trick or treater, and chaos ensues.
Mhm.
So we have all these stories kind of happening. They do not intermingle. Like you literally kind of get the full, or you think the full bit of each story as we go along. And then as you get towards the end of the film, you realize that all of these are intertwined. And our connecting thread is I don't know what to call him. He's not a villain. He is sort of a slasher in a way, but he's also kind of our protagonist, but he's
a,
also
a
not the main character.
mischievous figure.
We have our I don't know, our Deus Ex Machina, Sam, my sweet baby boy Sam, short for Samhain, of course.
Of course.
And he is the personified spirit of Halloween, dressed as a little trick or treater boy. And his purpose in the film is he goes around enforcing the rules of the holiday. So Sam makes an appearance in each of these stories throughout the movie, whenever one of the characters breaks a Halloween tradition. So, what are Sam's rules of Halloween, everyone? Uh,
Hmm.
there are four that are generally recognized as being the rules from the film. There are technically seven in all. Some people include the last three, others don't. But if you look at like an officially licensed piece of trick or treat merch, it's going to list these four. Number one, always wear a costume.
Always.
Always. Number two, always hand out treats. Number
Treat.
three, never blow a jack o' lantern out before midnight. That's a big no no.
That sounds like a fire safety issue in my house because I'll be asleep by then.
Well, see, okay, you're just being a
I'm
real
just gonna I'm
Krieg.
just gonna get murdered. I'm just gonna get my ass murdered because I don't want my house to burn down because I'm an old woman and I need to go to bed, Sam.
I'm so Penny's the Mr. Krieg of this situation. I
I
can't deal with you.
Oh man, I would be the grumpy old hermit. I would
I,
name my dog Spite.
I'm a real Rhonda, but you don't know what that means
I
yet.
don't.
Uh, and then number four is, of course, always check your candy. I think a lot of people, even if you're not familiar with the movie, if you haven't seen it, you're familiar with the imagery of the candy bar with the razor blades sticking out of it. So those are the four that are generally accepted as Sam's rules. Some people also include number five: don't take down your decorations before November 1. Number six: never hurt the innocent. And then seven,
That's
of
just a
course,
good rule in
that's
general,
a
not
good
just
rule
on
to live
Halloween.
by. Yeah. And then number 7 is, of course, Respect the Dead. And
Hey, theme to our last
I know,
episode.
I was literally thinking about this the whole time. I was like, man, Sam would be effing
He'd be
up these grave
pissed as
robbers.
hell.
uh, so yeah, like I said, I think some of the reason those last 3 are kind of added in is because of some of the situations under which Sam shows up in the film. It's fun to kind of try to, as you're watching the movie, if you're watching it for the first time, keep these rules in mind and see if you can, spot where the rules are broken, and why Sam makes his appearances. It's a fun little trajectory game. But so getting into the production history of this film, Trick or Treat was directed by a man named Michael Dougherty. But before Trick or Treat happened, in 1996, Dougherty created a short animated film called Season's Greetings. And this was produced at NYU's Tisch School for the Arts. I almost said for the performing arts because of who I am as a person. But in their animation department. And it's really short. It's a little 4-minute film. You can actually find the whole thing on YouTube. I recommend checking it out. It's really cool. It's done in like the OG animation style where they color each slide in marker and then like tape it over the clear transparencies and film over it. It's very cool, very nostalgic. It has a real like autumnal, gloomy, creepy vibe. But it's just a short little film that features a trick-or-treater in orange footy pajamas and a little burlap sack over his head. In this iteration, he actually has like a jack-o'-lantern face more on the sack.
Mm-hmm.
But he's out late night trick-or-treating alone. You can tell it's like really late because there's no other kids on the street. He goes up to several houses and like rings the doorbell and nobody answers. And as it pans through, you see when he's walking down the street, you see a missing child poster. And then moving forward, you see him getting stalked by this kind of large shadow of what appears to be a man in a trench coat. And the man follows the little trick-or-treater down an alleyway, and then you see like flashes of spattering blood and like big gnashing teeth. And then the twist is that the twist is that the trick-or-treater then reappears from out of the alleyway dragging his candy sack, which is now presumably holding the body of the stalker figure. And it zooms in on his little mask all spattered with blood and the word Season's Greetings flash across the screen. Nice. So this was the inspiration for what became Trick or Treat. I also think that the stalker figure is probably what ends up inspiring the character of Steve Wilkins, the principal in the film. But Dougherty wanted to make this into a feature film for years after he made this short, and like nobody wanted to pick it up. And this is one of my favorite little tidbits of any movie as we got into Beetlejuice originally being called Scared Shitless. Yeah. I love original titles of films.
Always entertaining.
So Trick or Treat went through several iterations because it was originally going to be called Season's Greetings because of the short film. And they said, people are going to think it's a Christmas movie, which I actually think is funny because really Sam has a lot of Santa-like qualities.
With the murder and all.
Well, Santa's a vampire. We've talked about this.
I'm teasing.
No, but like he's visiting houses with a big sack and like making sure you've been like not naughty or nice, following the rule. Yeah, I mean he's got some Santa-like qualities. But yeah, so they nixed that, and then it was Halloween Terrors, then it was Jack-o'-lantern Tales, then it was October the 31st, and then they finally settled on Trick or Treat. But then there was another movie that came out in the 80s already called Trick or Treat. So they took the O out, and then it became Trick or Treat. Went on a real journey there to get to where we are with the title. But anyway, I just always have to include that because I think it's fun.
It is very interesting, and it's always, I always enjoy like trying to picture a
Like
movie
if
that
it
I
had come,
know being like seeing the like DVD or the trailer or whatever, and having it being like October the 31st, and I'd be like, what?
well, yeah, like I'm thinking about having this tattoo on my arm, like this, yeah, from my favorite movie, Jack-o'-lantern Tales. Like that sounds like an animated like kids special.
It does. Which would
uh,
also be appropriately funny to
well,
be like,
yeah,
hey kids.
well, and the when you watch the movie, the beginning of the film is kind of set up like one of those old Halloween safety videos.
Love
So
it.
it's cute, but anyway, Doherty could not get any major studio to bite on this idea at all. They were really convinced that like anthology films were super dated and out of style,
Mm,
and that the way that the horror in this film like is presented was a lot more classic than where horror was headed at the time. Things were changing rapidly in the early aughts for horror. Like we're getting a lot more into different genres,
yeah.
a lot of subgenres breaking out, and just nobody was really biting on this. So then Legendary Pictures picks it up, and they thought for sure that like this was going to be the new like instant Halloween classic. They really believed in it. And then Warner Brothers Studio was the other half of who was backing this. So then it's supposed to release October 5th of 2007. Warner Brothers at the last minute starts having doubts about this and delays the release date, ends up kind of pulling back on it, and the film doesn't get released.
Oops.
And they start in over the next couple of years basically putting it in some festival screenings. A lot of horror festivals and things showed it. One of the one of the first screenings I saw, this was just funny. The festival was called Butt Numathon.
Nice.
But it starts getting really popular at these festival screenings. People are really enjoying it, but it never sees an actual nationwide theater
Hmm.
release. And after 2 years of sitting in the Warner Brother vaults, they very, very quietly released it straight to DVD in 2009, uh, which is just a complete disservice to this film, and I'm still mad about it. But
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I confess that I'm shocked that it's that old.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
when you said 2007, first I was like, "What?" And even 2009, like I assumed that it was from like, maybe like 5 years ago at most.
Well, and let me tell you why you think that.
Please do. Is that a good segue
It's
that
a
I
great segue.
accidentally gave you?
No, it's great. Because yeah, horror fans loved this movie and did not want to allow it to sink into obscurity the way WB kind of tried to force it into. And I think you would be, maybe I'm wrong, but this is my perception. I think you would be hard pressed to find a horror lover who doesn't think this is the perfect Halloween movie. It like the Stefan, like this film has everything. Like it really does. It's got like werewolves, it's got zombies, it's got ghosts, it's got murder, it's got jack-o'-lanterns, it's got everything. It's great. Um, and so as it gets, more and more word of mouth, more or
Hmm.
less, which I find, so we've talked about this a lot, honestly. With like the Scream episode, it didn't have a lot of success straight out, and
Yep.
it got word of mouth. You just talked about this with Silence of the Lambs having kind of a soft, like weird opening, and then people talking about like but what I'm learning is that studios don't know what's good.
They super don't.
They
They
don't know what's
super
good.
don't.
But people who love Trick or Treat are hardcore about it, and the more and more it gets, I actually read a really interesting article that was called like the scary good afterlife of a great film or so, um, and talking about how in the last 5 to 7 years, Michael Dougherty has been getting called up for all these interviews about Trick or Treat, all this press. as anyone who has been in a Spirit Halloween in the last
Yeah.
4 years knows, they have licensed Trick or Treat, and it seems like more and more and more every year we're just getting tons of Trick or Treat merchandise, both through places like Spirit, and I feel like I'm seeing more and more small makers making stuff, which is very exciting. If you've been a long time Trick or Treat lover, it was not this popular.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
again, the people who love it, but there wasn't like options to get, stuff with Sam
yeah.
on it.
Oh,
Like, that
that's
just
so
wasn't
exciting.
happening.
I
Um,
remember like within like the past couple of years, I remember actually like seeing like the pumpkin lollipop and not
uh-huh.
knowing that it was from
You're like, that's
anything.
cute.
And I was like thankfully actually it may have even been in like a spirit or something where I was like, well, this is cute, like a cute little like candy, trick or treating
Yeah.
kind of thing. And
You're not
definitely
wrong.
almost bought it with no concept of the fact that it was from something. And then I think like later that year I saw someone post and be like, oh, my trick or treat collection. And I was like, oh, like not like general terms trick or treat, like trick or treat TM collection.
Yeah. I would have been like that. The annoying men who ask like women wearing band T-shirts. If
Right.
you had had that lollipop, I would have been like, name 5 characters from Trick or Treat, Penny.
What's your favorite rule of Halloween,
Yeah,
Penny?
name 3 of the 4 rules. Well, and then too, in 2017, Trick or Treat got their own themed scare zone for Halloween Horror Nights at
Mhm.
Universal Studios,
Spooky.
and in the following year, 2018, got their own haunted like attraction as well. So it's had a really rich afterlife, and that makes me so happy that I personally, I found this to be the case with most of the fandom of this film. It's not a gatekeepy community. Like, nobody is doing the like, well, I liked Trick or Treat before it was cool. Like,
I don't know if this is in your notes, Midge, but
uh-huh.
when did you discover trick or treat? Like what was how did you come across it?
That is such a, yeah. I if I'm correct, I saw this film with, so one of my best friends in high school. He and I had pretty, I would say, at least monthly, maybe bi-weekly, but semi-regular
Yeah.
movie screening evenings, where we would watch some kind of what we perceived to be like, quote, bad horror.
Mhm. Yeah.
We wanted to watch like stupid horror movies.
Oh yeah,
um
schlocky. You love watching that
yeah,
stuff.
but we ended up finding some real bangers in this process. Um, one of them being Dead Silence, which I also cannot recommend enough, a severely underrated weird puppet horror film. But I believe it was in 2011 that he and I watched Trick or Treat.
Nice.
And I, I mean, like, instant love. It's just so unique. The structure of it, there's just nothing else like it. And the the way that the stories all weave together at the end is really compelling and really fun. Um, and yeah, I watch this every Halloween night. Um, I have a very specific movie lineup that I do on the actual eve of Halloween. That uh, I watch Trick or Treat, and then I start Beetlejuice at the exact time that when the credits start rolling and Jump in the Line starts playing, that it is midnight on Halloween night. I have this all lined up.
There you go.
But like, and then yeah, like I said, I showed Taylor, my husband, this film 2 years ago for the first time. He sat and watched it with me, and he actually really really liked it as well, so that was exciting. um, so I really hope that if you have not seen this film, or if you have seen it and you love it, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, whatever it may be, uh, take the time and go out and support this theater release next month if you can. I believe October 6th is the date that it's getting re-released into theaters, or not re-released. um, it's also, this is a great film for people who aren't big horror folks as well. Like, it's pretty campy, and it does have some really good scares, but it's also like goofy in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. So I I think it's surprising, and if you are a person who's like, I wouldn't go see a horror movie in theaters because I'm too jumpy or whatever, this is a great like gateway horror drug. um, so yeah, please go check it out and then tell me if you love it, because this movie has been so formative to my love of Halloween. It has such cozy, like, even though there's, murder, uh it has such cozy like
Whatever. When has murder
autumnal.
ever interrupted coziness? I
Right.
ask you.
Never.
Not in my
uh
book.
no, but yeah, really October autumnal vibes, and it's just a classic. It's great. um but yeah, I'm so thrilled that I've been waiting for like the good opportunity to talk about this, and when when the news came up that it was getting released in theaters, I was like, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, that's super fun. I am excited to watch it. I did look it up. The nearest theater to me is like an hour away. That's getting it. So I will probably be renting it, but I will be
That's
watching it
okay.
this season.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I know you've done a little bit of research, but I think you're still gonna be like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was also like years ago, so I remember
Right.
next to nothing.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yes, I will keep you updated on my trick or treat thoughts.
Well, and if you have any trick or treat thoughts and you would like to share them with me, feel free to go over to the Ghouls Night In pod Instagram and shoot me a message. But don't give spoilers in case Penny sees the message.
Yes.
But tell me if you love this movie as much as I do, and let's have a heart to heart about it.
Heck yeah.
Well, that is all I have about Trick or Treat today. If you are enjoying our little podcast here, we would sure love to know about it. You can leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we will just possibly read it live right here on the air. I believe we have a review to share today, don't we?
We sure do. This is a 5-star review from iTunes by Veggie Dancer Girl, entitled Perfect Amount of Spooky. And she says, I'm not tough enough for true crime, but give me terrifying turnips and Victorian level thrills any day. Sans medicated salads. This show is so hilarious and educational. It truly feels like I'm just hanging out with a couple of quick witted ghoul friends. Highly recommend.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Uh,
Yes. We love
coincidentally, that. Oh,
to
sorry.
hear it. Oh, nope. I was just laughing about medicated salads.
I was gonna say, coincidentally, that's exactly the review I would also give to Trick or Treat. Perfectly spooky.
Hey.
Perfect amount of spooky.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, please do consider leaving us a review if you're listening. That really helps us reach new audiences and know we're doing a good job over here and showing y'all topics that you're interested in hearing about.
Yes, and if they don't let you leave a review, just give us those 5 stars. Those are also very much appreciated.
They sure are. And 5 is Penny's favorite number, so only.
I mean, my real favorite number is 7, and 5 is as close as you can get on
There you
most star
go.
rating systems. So.
Yeah, perfect. Well, as we mentioned before, if you're looking for more content from us, you can check us out over on Instagram at Ghouls Night In Pod. We post pictures over there of anything we chat about on the episodes. We also have links over there now to our Ghouls Night In merch, which you can purchase and
Ooh.
wear and have a great spooky time in. And then if you're looking for us, you can find me across all platforms at Midge Munster.
And you can find me at Penny Snark.
And thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, good.
Good.